Well, welcome to Next Up, and we're doing something unusual this week, and we're going to be talking about how you can live in a place like Malta, the beautiful, beautiful country of Malta on the Mediterranean, and we're going to talk about the Malta Startup Residence Program and what it offers to non-EU entrepreneurs. You might be an entrepreneur, and it offers 3- and 5-year residency programs for launching their highly innovative startups. So if you've got a great startup and you want to scale it up, you need to get to speak to the guys from Malta. And that's what we're going to be doing today. And joining me is Charles Mizzi, who's the CEO of Residency Malta, and the agency that administers the residence permit. So Charles is the guy that you need to talk to. And we also going to be joined, and let me tell you a little bit about Charles. Charles has headed Residency Malta for the past 4 years, and he's basically leading its strategy and diversification and digital transformation. Kurt Farrugia joins us. He's the CEO of Malta Enterprises, and Kurt has been appointed as Chief Executive Officer of Malta Enterprises since August of 2019. So he's been around in the government. He served as Head of Government Communications and spokesperson for the President of Malta between 2013 and 2019. So you both know Malta in and out, born and bred there, so it's wonderful to have you with us. And thank you for joining us, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
It's a great pleasure. It's a great pleasure. Let me start with you, Charles. I introduced this program as the Malta Startup Residence Program. How did it come to be? Is it similar to the golden visas that we hear about being offered in the European Union?
So first of all, thank you, Aki, for having us. It's a pleasure for us to be here today. No, the Malta Startup Residence Program is a bit different than the Residency by Investment programs, those commonly known as the golden visas. So obviously, as one can imagine, this program is related to startups, to attracting startups to Malta. As such, startups are not something which are completely new to our island. Malta Enterprise are very heavily active in the sector. They are continuously onboarding new startups on a daily basis. What this program is all about is facilitating the process to attract startups from third countries, startups from countries which are outside of the EU. It was, I think, something which was missing at a certain point in time, and that's where we were having discussions with Malta Enterprise to see how we can facilitate this process, and then we came up with this idea of launching the Malta Startup Residence Program. We gave it a lot of thought. We saw sort of what the market demanded. Malta Enterprise have a lot of experience in this regard. So we came up with this program, which facilitates the process and offers flexibility to our prospective applicants. From a technical
Fantastic.
From a technical perspective, we are talking about a program which offers a 3-year residence permit at the outset for founders, co-founders, and even their core employees, and also their families, because we know that these individuals will be relocating to Malta for the long term. And then if the business is successful, it will be renewed for a further 5 years.
Well, thank you very much to you, Charles. Thank you for painting that beautiful picture. Listen, before I speak to Kurt, describe Malta to us. For people who've never been to Malta, who don't know where Malta is, where is Malta exactly, and describe Malta for us.
Malta is a country in the middle of the Mediterranean. Obviously, we say that it's strategically located to facilitate business, because obviously it can be used as a hub for people who want to diversify their business, those who want to reach out to both Europe and North Africa. It's a small but I think very lovely island, and we are blessed to have a mix of everything. So in 30 minutes, you can be at the nearest beach, you can watch a movie, go to an opera, I don't know, have a nice meal, mix of different cultures, different cuisines. The expat community is growing very fast, so I think
Yes.
one every five residents in Malta is an expat. The communities of people coming from different countries is growing very much. You can find Europeans, you can find Asians, North Africans, South Africans. So I think Malta has a mix of everything.
That's very interesting. Thank you for that insight, Charles. I mean, Kurt, Charles has covered quite a bit of Malta extensively, and it's certainly a very beautiful island. And I've heard about the food and how amazing the food is, and the beaches and the weather and all of these kind of things. But also historically, it's the island has a lot of history.
That's right, Aki. Thank you for the invitation and thank you for being here. So, well, yes, our history is a long one. It's over 7,000 years. It predates Stonehenge in terms of built structures. And we also have been under different colonies and colonizers. So, what we bring and the different cultures that one can see in Malta are quite diverse, so that's what we offer, a lifestyle as well as a very nice place in Europe, but with a Mediterranean climate and a very good business environment, infrastructurally very well maintained.
And also easily accessible, I want to add as well, because you've got a lot of access of different airlines flying into your international airport. So you've got dozens of flights every day coming in from all over Europe. So connecting and getting into Malta and getting out is not an issue at all, which is fantastic. Now, I'm very excited to talk to you about this residence program and the businesses, because you deal with the business side of things.
Yeah.
Kurt, what kind of businesses are eligible for this particular program?
So to latch on what to Charles was saying and the previous question, we wanted to see what we can offer more as a startup destination. So in terms of assistance, we do help with grants, we do help with non-dilutive grants, we do help with repayable advance, and that can go up to 1 million in assistance to start your startup in Malta, 1 million euro that is. Then we looked at how can we be even more attractive to startups coming outside of the European Union, because if you're a member of the European Union, you of course have a right to reside and work in Malta or in any European state. So what we are doing with the startup residency program is we're offering also the opportunity for companies outside of Europe to set up their operation in Europe, specifically in Malta. And as Charles said, we are targeting not just the founders and co-founders, but also the core employees as well as their families, because we're very well aware that if you want to set up your startup, if you want to co-locate part of that business and you need to move someone to work out of Malta, then you need the family and you need the core employees, not just the founders.
Yes.
So that is where we're targeting our offering through the Startup Residency program.
Okay, so it's quite detailed, and you offer a various variety of options from what I can hear from you. Let me come to you, Charles, because I understand that this program is a result of collaboration between your agency, Residency Malta, and Malta's Economic Development Agency. So there's a partnership over here, Malta Enterprise. What does this look like from a client's perspective, for example?
So most probably when they hear this question, the clients will be scratching their heads, saying it's already difficult dealing with one government agency, let alone two. But I can assure you that it will be a seamless process. So although we are working together jointly in all this, there will be a lot of work which is being done in the background, but when it comes to client facing, there will be sort of one point of contact who will sort of
Yes.
go through the whole process with the prospective client from start to finish. So the applicant would be dealing with just one account manager, but then the rest will be done in the background. From our side, we will be working on the due diligence and the issuing of residence permit. Malta Enterprise will be dealing with the business proposal. They will be sort of providing guidance when it comes to setting up of business and conducting business in Malta.
Okay, so it sounds to me like the process is not very complicated because you both work very closely together, and I think there's nothing, when it comes to applying for these kind of things and the paperwork and the bureaucracy kind of scares people off. But it sounds like you guys at Malta, in Malta, have this problem really sorted out. Now, let me come back to you, Kurt, from an entrepreneurial side and the entrepreneurial perspective. Why should non-EU nationals launch a startup from Malta? And it's a good question because you've got lots of competition. There's lots of places around the world where startups can go to. Why should they come to Malta?
Yeah, in fact, there's a lot of competition, but we look at that as something very positive because each jurisdiction can offer different things. What we can offer, probably other jurisdictions can't, and what other jurisdictions offer, there are things that we probably can't either. So from that perspective, what we are offering as Malta is a thriving startup ecosystem, which has a very important support structure, which is Malta Enterprise. And we're a government agency, so if we are the first and startups are our clients, we do tend to open doors in universities, our technical institutes for talent, our colleagues from different government entities, where we would be able to assist a startup not simply to start its operation in Malta, but also to navigate through the various agencies, through the various departments that you would need to set up your business. So we'll get sorted the part where it is the bureaucratic aspect of setting up a company, and let the startups focus specifically on their operation. Of course, we have a very strong and diverse economy and a very stable jurisdiction, in the sense that we've been growing in terms of growth, economic growth. We've been growing to the tune of 6 to 7% yearly. We've had a very strong rebound after COVID, and I'd say we've been very effective in assisting companies to retain their employees throughout the COVID period by helping them on wages, and then they were all in a very good situation to relaunch their business. So in terms of government assistance, in terms of what we can offer, we're very agile because we're a small island, and in that way we know our clients, we know the people who we interact with, and we have a very closely knit startup community that we gather as Malta Enterprise and offer a home. Of course, it's accessibility, which is very important. So from Malta, you can reach not just Europe but the whole world, Africa, Middle East, Asia, and beyond, of course, as well as we have, as I already mentioned, very reputable educational institutions for talent and research, which we're very aware it's very important for startups.
Yeah,
at the same time,
and of course,
we're very
Sorry,
advanced when it comes. Sorry.
No, carry on. You're saying you're very advanced when it comes
when it comes to regulation, particularly in the more modern technologies. So from AI to digital technologies to medical technologies, and our institutions are very open to business and very accessible for companies to test their products, for companies to get registration, to get certification. And we've been one of the first countries to regulate blockchain, one of the first countries to open up with regulations and laws for medical cannabis, for instance. So in that sense, we can be very agile when it comes to adapting for the newer technologies.
That's impressive. And what I wanted to add as well is that, being part of the EU, you've got the EU at your doorstep as well, so you've got that ecosystem, which is massive on its own. And for startups, when you want to scale and you want to have access to other countries to, you expand what you're doing as a startup, I think that's critical. To use Malta as your launch pad is a fantastic idea. Charles, let me come to you.
One
Yes.
very important aspect is that we have two official languages, the Maltese language and the English language. So our
Yes.
main language is English. All our laws are in English. Our education is conducted in English. Our healthcare system operates in the English language. So basically, it's very easy also to communicate on the island. You don't need to learn a specific language. You just need to be able to communicate in English.
Yeah. Is Maltese very different from Italian?
It's quite different. In fact, interestingly, it's got a Semitic Arabic origin, but with it's written in Latin letters.
Okay.
So in that sense, we can communicate also in various other languages: Italian, French, of course, English.
Okay, no, that's fantastic, fascinating. I love it. I absolutely love it. Such startup entrepreneurs and their employees, it's important for families. People want to come across with families. I know we touched on it earlier. What should these new residents expect from Malta? And talk to us about the family side of things as well.
So basically, from experience we have with these kind of programs, usually families ask questions related to the basic needs, basically safety, security. Malta is a very safe country. It's considered the second safest in the world for women, for example.
Oh, wow.
Can walk around freely, people going for a jog around the country freely. So basic things that sometimes are taken for granted, but in reality they're part of our lifestyle. We have a very progressive society. We recognize same-sex marriage. Where Kurt made reference also to the healthcare systems. We have one of the top 5 healthcare systems in the world. So obviously this gives peace of mind to the families in knowing that if they ever need to access the healthcare system, they are in safe hands. Another important thing which would like to reiterate, and Kurt mentioned to it as well, is the fact the communication part. We've heard stories of people who needed medical attention. They went to hospital, but they couldn't communicate because the doctors couldn't speak in English. Sort of basic things, small things that really make a lot of difference for people who relocate to other countries, to new countries. And also things like which we mentioned earlier on, like the climate, the cuisine. People basically feel at home when they come to Malta.
Yeah. And what about schools? Families coming with young children, for example. Tell us about your schooling system, if you can.
Yes, the schooling system is basically based on the British model. We have private, public, and even church schools, which one can go to. Very high standards of education. We have a university which is 400 years old. University degrees are recognized also in other countries. So although one can further his studies locally, they can also sort of go to they are accepted in other foreign universities with a University of Malta degree.
Okay. Wow, that sounds absolutely amazing, Charles. I mean, just talking to you and Kurt, certainly Charles and Kurt, Malta's been on my bucket list for many, many years. My family roots come from Greece, which is right near you. So we're very close by. So I need to come and visit at some point. But Charles, Malta sounds wonderful, and you both described it incredibly well. If someone watching this is a non-EU entrepreneur and they're saying, I need to get my business to Malta, how do they apply? What's the process that they need to go through, Charles?
The process is quite simple. So the first step that one needs to make is to basically send us an email on the email address startupresidency@startinmalta.com in order to set up a meeting with the individual who would like to have an open chat with prospective applicants to learn more about their ideas, their projects, what they're up to, in order to guide the individuals accordingly. Maybe we would need to beef up their proposal a bit more. Maybe the proposal is not viable after all. So before sort of embarking through the application process, we usually have a chat with these individuals. Once the application is like sort of it's more clear, the application process is more clear, then they would need to apply through our website. There is we will provide full instructions and guidance on the application process. Once the application reaches us, we will kickstart the due diligence process. As I said, Residency Malta will be taking care of the residence part, the residence permit part. Malta Enterprise will be handling the business aspect. Usually the application process takes around 3 months to be concluded, and we will communicate with the applicant on whether the application has been successful or not. But if the applicant would like also to tap into the financial incentives that Malta Enterprise can offer, the application process might take a month or two more, because obviously it will entail deeper discussions with the prospective applicants. But it's quite a seamless process, and obviously our people will be helping the prospective applicants all along.
Well, it sounds like quite a quick process. I mean, you just mentioned it's a matter of months. And Kurt, I'm sure that you from the business side, you obviously scrutinize the business and the application and the startup. I don't know if there's anything further that you add, and if I may ask as well, is that do you have any set prescriptions to businesses that they need to employ Maltese nationals as well to the business, or any other rules around your startup? If there's anything else further that you'd love to add, I'd love to hear from you, Kurt.
Sure. No, there's one main route and one main basic prerequisite, that the business is set up in Malta. But then there won't be other requisites, such as having to employ Maltese, because we are recognizing very early on that the most important thing is to be able to acquire talent, being it from Malta, being it from anywhere in Europe or outside Europe. And that's exactly why the residence program was designed to the effect that you can also get your core employees and also obtain talent or get talent from anywhere in the world, and be given a residence status in Malta. And it's exactly the government direction in terms of economic development, that we do not just have a situation where you get the employees and employment, because in terms of employment we're quite in a very good economic situation. So we're now looking for the cutting edge when it comes to companies, the cutting edge and the talent that we require as a jurisdiction. So that is why we are continuously looking at diversifying the economy. So the companies watching and the startups watching this, we ask them to be as innovative as possible, to come up with their projects and their products, and they will find a very fertile jurisdiction where to grow their business. We are facilitating a migratory pathway, and that is where we want to be, both in terms of having the cutting edge in terms of startups, cutting edge technology, being it in biomedical technology, life sciences, AI, and all the innovations that are coming along. We'd like to offer a home here, and we'd like to be able to assist them. So in a way, we are partners. Malta Enterprise will offer also a number of schemes and a number of investments without taking equity from the companies, and we'll be considering the companies as our partners, and will be with them throughout the journey, not just at the initial phase, but also throughout their entrepreneurial journey.
It sounds fantastic, gentlemen. And I guess, Kurt, in terms of if you look ahead into the future, strategically, where Malta is going with this, are you aiming to be the Silicon Valley of Europe? Is that ultimately where you want to be in the next 10 years?
I think we can be even different than Silicon Valley, in the sense that we aspire to be a place where, first of all, the quality of life is good. At the same time, we're offering a place where your ideas can thrive. So in terms of, yes, the model and the cutting edge technology we're looking at, we'd like to be there, but we'll also be giving a very good place where to set up your business and also grow your family here in Malta.
Wonderful. Charles Mizzi, the Chief Executive Officer for Residency Malta Agency, Kurt Farrugia, the CEO of Malta Enterprises. Gentlemen, thank you very, very much. And next time, I hope that we can sit and have a nice espresso in Malta and talk about these things close by.